One thing that a young person doesn't know, but someone my age might be lucky enough to learn, is that a curse can be a blessing. A curse can be a blessing. And the curse I wanted to bring up today from my experience in my past is almost always living with someone that is just solely focused on destroying your peace, your happiness, your time for relaxation. I mean, even the woman I married was so laser beam focused on this one thing. And I've watched some of these Christian videos on chosen ones, and I'm beginning to think that that might have something to do with it, because I've always had a hard time fitting in. Before I was even introduced to Jesus Christ, I already was totally in love with goodness and the concept of a loving God Father up there. But just always, never having a living environment where everything's copacetic. And even in this current living situation, I had a roommate from hell. I mean, I could not imagine any person being more difficult to live with this person that I lived with for like a good 7-8 months, somewhere around there. But we were scheduled to live together for a year. But he was a felon for theft, and he actually had police officers come in here, handcuff him, and take him away, and I never saw him again. So bless the Lord, thank you for that. But even before he left, there's some crazy woman living upstairs. I've gone up there just once and asked, what's all the ruckus? What's going on? And she was just like, what? I don't know what you're talking about. What? I have my mother here visiting. Do you have anything else to say? What time of the day is this? And I said, all times of the day. Even 2, 3, 4 a.m. all the time, coming from your apartment. She was like, oh, you must be mistaken. It must be from somewhere else. And I was just like, yeah, you're right. It must be from someone else. See you later. But she is heavy set. And she must not be home now, because she's almost always home, and she can tell when I'm home because this front door kind of closes loudly. It's hard to close this front door quietly, but just amazing the amount of stomping, literally like marching across the living room floor nonstop if she hears my TV. So I'm always trying to keep it quiet, but I don't seek any revenge. And now I see it as a wonderful opportunity to pray for this person. Because she'll literally move furniture and drop the furniture, take sounds like glass jars and that are maybe kind of plastic too, they can't break, and throw them on her ground. And just the amount of anger that I think this person must have coursing through her veins. Now, granted, that drug addict that I lived with, he was up all night, every night. He never went to bed before 7 a.m. Sometimes he wouldn't even go to bed until as late as 10:30 in the morning, 11 in the morning. So he'd stay up all night and sleep during the day. And while he was awake at night, he was just slamming pans in the kitchen and just doing everything he could to steal my peace and to keep me awake. And then he would want to sleep in the day. So if I made any noise during the day, he was pissed and he'd repay me that night. But so then he made so much noise that I think that's what started this woman on her warpath. Because for about 2 months before he moved out, that's when this noise from upstairs started. But I mean, that guy moved out 8 or 9 months ago. And this woman every single day is just on the warpath. But it doesn't even seem to really bother me much anymore. I'm just kind of used to always having someone trying to destroy any peace or any relaxation I have. I've just grown so accustomed to it that I hardly even notice it anymore. And when it is so bad that I can't help but notice it, I just pray for her. And I even say it's good, because she's kind of overweight, for her to get so much exercise. Because that's like walking on a treadmill nonstop, and she's slamming her feet down. And so that's even extra work. I mean, I think she's burning like just a ton of calories every day trying to antagonize me. But I won't respond negatively. I won't seek revenge. I'll only pray for her. And the Bible says that that's such a blessing when you pray for your persecutors. And when you're being punished unjustly, to be like Jesus, be the silent lamb. Just kind of let it happen. Because what can flesh and blood do to me, right? I mean, all they can do is try to steal my peace, or maybe try to hurt my body, or vandalize my car, which I've had people do, believe me. Vandalize my car and my motorcycle non-stop my whole life. So, this curse of always having people, tenants above you, below you, sharing a common wall, just doing everything they can to cause a war. Mainly that's what they want. They want interaction with you. Maybe they're lonely. Maybe anger is really the main rush they get out of life. I used to kind of be addicted to anger. You get that adrenaline coursing through your veins, and you feel so strong, almost superhuman. And it's a high, it's a rush. And so maybe that's what they're seeking, to be able to get into arguments and verbal confrontations, and to be able to get that rush and that high. Thank God I'm not into that anymore. But so I can say to the good Lord, I too have been like this person, so I don't blame them for how they are. She's a young college student. I may have done the same, even though that loud roommate moved out 8 or 9 months ago. Maybe she doesn't know it. In those same circumstances, I might be that lunatic upstairs trying to ruin someone's peace and get back at them. So we all have been sinners. We all have made terrible mistakes. And luckily, some of us find the peace and love that is offered to us from Jesus Christ. And we don't need to seek those cheap ways to get a high. But, one, she's getting great exercise. 2, she has someone praying for her every day now, for her eternal soul, and for her possibility of finding out about Jesus and being blessed with his love and his guidance and his protection and all of that good stuff. It's so glorious when you have the Lord in your life. This earthly stuff doesn't really affect you much anymore. This America that I've loved and I've always considered the best country in the world being destroyed day by day by politicians that only care about seeking re-election and keep maintaining their power and their wealth, and seeing that destroy the country, right? Trying to divide everyone, trying to get everyone to hate everyone else. That does still bother me, but I know that everything that happens is permitted by the good Lord. And I've read Revelation about 7 times. So I know what's coming. And this is as good as it's going to get, what we got right now. So instead of living in bitterness, we've got to be happy for the amount of order that we still do have. Chaos is impending every day. Lawlessness is increasing every day. But at least we still have what we have. Right? And I live in a small town in Arizona where the police are very visible, and they're writing tickets and they're pulling people over and they're very active. I'm from Los Angeles, metropolitan, and I'd go days without seeing a single police officer. I'd go months without seeing a police officer pulling over someone on the side of the road. Driving on the highway is literally risking your life these days. I wake up very early, and the last time I was in LA, I was leaving town at 6 a.m., and I was in fear of my life. I love driving. I love motorcycles. I grew up driving a stick shift. I'm very capable and very comfortable behind the wheel, yet I literally was white knuckling it and was afraid, with cars flying past you at 110 miles an hour, just everywhere. Craziness. Man, I feel sorry for the old people that live in Los Angeles. It's become like the Old West. I had 2 people try to drive me off the road within a month. One time they literally hit my car and, but both times tried to kill me, tried to drive me off the road into a ditch when I was going 50 miles an hour or more. And I couldn't get 911. The one where the guy hit me, they put me on hold for like 15 minutes. He was on hold too. And we both just said, screw it, and gave up. The other one, the truck, huge, big white truck just kept going. I called 911 and just sat there on hold. No one even greeted me. No one came on at all for a whole 15 minutes till I just hung up and said, to heck with it. So, but that's our future. Normal's not coming back, but Jesus is. And so lean into that relationship, and this chaos that's taking place in the world, and more specifically in this country, won't bring you down and won't affect you as much. But I'm kind of going all over the place. I'm starting to ramble, but a curse can be a blessing, especially if you have a relationship with the Lord. That's all I wanted to say. And I have been blessed by these kind of evil people that tried to torment me. I mean, physically accosted by one family several times before I just had to move because the landlord wouldn't help me. They were black, and I was in a black neighborhood. I had no recourse. I had nothing to... I called the police, and they just said, there's nothing we can do. I just got physically assaulted. I have a bruise in my head. What do you mean there's nothing you can do? Well, she's gone. She'll be home later tonight. I know her name. There's nothing we can do. Sorry, sir. Have a nice day. So the landlord wouldn't do anything. The police wouldn't do anything. And I'm getting physically assaulted and verbally assaulted several times a day. Being called the N-word over and over and over. And I know it was just a setup for me to say that word back once. Because if I had said that word back once, into our society, they then have the right to physically beat me down. Because I'm a white male that used the N-word against them. And they would have just had the best time of their life, kicking the living daylights out while I'm on the ground, kicking my teeth in. They would have been filled with joy. That's evil. There's real evil in this world. So, but if you have the peace of Jesus in you, you can deal with that amount of evil and try to be the silent lamb. God bless.